Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and today I'm taking a look at Transformers Generations Studio Series Gamer Edition '08. We have the Decepticon Mook, the Decepticon Soldier from War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron. We've got our little background here. It looks, the same kind of... I know there's a lot of love for War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron. I like the games too, but they did not pick a great background for this. This looks like, is it like in color? Is it black and white? You get a little bit of energon glow here. Everything else is just kind of a gray mechanical mess. It feels very Gears of War, which is something I thought the games felt like when I originally played them. But here we have the Soldier, and it unfortunately takes that aesthetic and puts it on a vehicle. The vehicle shape looks cool here. It's like a little angular, a little bulbous, like a meaner Bumblebee. Mine, if you notice, it's not like holding in super well. I gotta keep cramming things in, which is an unfortunate thing to have to note. But the greeble details look neat. Lines look cool. The gun is the same exact gun we got with Barricade. This feels like a great toy to be stickered up because it is so bare. I mean, everything is the prototype gray plastic except for this green detail, which is the paint. I mean, that is painted on, but it doesn't look like it just looks like a mess of green plastic instead of green painted highlight applications, if that makes sense. We have some nice little purple headlights here, but against the gray, it doesn't pop. Same thing here on the wheels, it's not really popping. This part looks good. I feel like that is a big enough strip, and it is rich enough in purple versus this faded. Against the green, it looks good, but maybe if this had been in purple also, that would have helped. But against the gray, the purple does not help. And I don't know if you can make that out on camera, but there is, in fact, a Decepticon symbol back there. He does roll just fine. I mean, that is nice. If we get, that background way out there, he does look pretty good next to Barricade. It feels like a video game NPC, right? This is a playable main character. Unfortunately, Barricade's still I got to kind of twist him and crunch him to get him to roll okay. The Decepticon Soldier kind of helps himself hide in the background, which is great for, I think, an NPC, but even my troop building toys, if this stood out and popped, I could have been convinced to pick pick up 3 or 4 of them and then had a little squad that Barricade leads, but it just looks so bland. This is, I said it before, I'm probably going to do the toy hacks on this guy just to see what it's like before I do a giveaway. But yeah, comparing the two, you can see there has been tremendous remolding here. It looks really different and really good, and I like that part. The gray, purple, and black, classic Skywarp colors, has so much more contrast, especially with the yellow, than the gray and green here. I mean, it's super soldiery, just not super interesting. I have done this transformation before with Barricade. It's the same exact thing. I'm not going to fast forward it because it is so short. I don't think I need to. We're going to come in here. We're going to split this section, pop this down, pop out the arms, which are tabbed in. You can pop them out. There's a little tab that went in a slot here. Same thing on this side. Pop this out. Drop down this section on the front, which it has a little place for that slot to peg in right there. You can flip around these wheel chunks and then split the legs. And you can see that kind of forms a nice heel. Flip out feet, which are oddly small. We'll talk about that in a second. Flip around his waist. Pop out his wrist, and on this side. And I know last week was the giveaway for Vector Prime. We're going to put his gun right here. So before we continue things any further, does that sound good? Does that sound helpful? Before we continue things any further, let's go announce our winner for Vector Prime. All right, let's announce the winner of Transformers Generations Legacy Universe. Legacy United. I'm tired. It's been a long night last night. It's early in the morning. Sorry. Transformers Generations Legacy United Vector Prime. I wasn't expecting a lot of entries for this one because it's not a great figure and my personal copy has quality issues. But we had, 11 of them. Here's the entries are on the left, or all the comments on the left. And then those that entered got a heart, and then you are entered over here on the right. So ran between 1 and 11. Our winner is number 3. 3 is Tim Albrecht. Tim, congrats. What were you most looking forward to? Tim, Nexus Prime. Yeah, Combiner Nexus Prime would be awesome. Congrats, Tim. I think you're familiar enough. You reach out to me on social media. We'll get Vector Prime packed up and sent your way as soon as possible. And let's get back to the review. And we're back just in time for me to remember that that is not how things peg together. We want to come this way, which does, in fact, help his silhouette. I probably got it wrong in the short as well. I was looking at him and I was like, I fucked something up there. That's not right. So here is the Decepticon Soldier. And hey, this does look better than my mistransformation. That part is for sure. He looks, I think, maybe a little more visually interesting. The fact that the green is broken up by more gray, like, it shouldn't work. It should look visually duller, but it makes the green act more like a highlight paint job than a, like, base coat that's just everywhere. And that does help him a little bit. We get a little more of that purple here, which I appreciate. He does feel like he's better articulated than Barricade. I want to point out, normally I don't do articulation on remolds, but this time it matters. Like, the head works really well. The backpack, like, if I press it in the wrong spot, it's going to come up, but that's okay. The arms are the same as Barricade, but at the elbow, it feels like that is a full 90-degree bend. The knees are basically the same. We have thigh swivel, and then we do not have ankle twist, which I mentioned on Barricade was odd. We also have oddly small feet. Just with how, like, big and bulky the bot modes are, I just feel like his feet are a little small. He still balances fine. He can still, like, do all the things he needs to do. Except his waist, he can't kick any higher than that, unfortunately. Yeah, it's just an odd one. He can, of course, swap out his gun with his forearm, which I never really liked as a gimmick. Let me make sure I get, like, because there's a flat piece here, so I got to make sure I get this going the right way. I never really liked that as a gimmick. It makes his forearm, like, that is so much smaller than this piece. I just wish the gun was more substantial. And I wish the arm had a better thing to do than just, like, clip onto his backpack so you could hide it. Comparing him to Barricade, this was a tough one to me. Before I got the toy, I came in expecting to swap things out. I expected, okay, I'll give away Barricade. I'm going to hold on to this guy. Now that I have him in hand, I think Barricade just looks the more visually interesting. I really like generic guys, but this one is a little too generic. I like Barricade's feet are bigger. I feel like his waist or his thighs aren't any bigger, and his elbow articulation is worse. I know that for a fact, but it just looks visually more interesting. Like I said before, this is not a giveaway. I'm going to do a stickering video on this guy because I want to see how he looks stickered up, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do with him. But yeah, as is, he fails to improve on Barricade, and Barricade was already a borderline recommend. I think at $25, like, there's just so much shell here. There's so little transformation. The things that I think are most interesting about Studio Series as a line have disappeared, unfortunately, right? I reviewed the Transformers 1 Optimus Prime. For an Optimus Prime, it wasn't great. It was, like, mediocre. It was bad for an Optimus Prime and a mediocre deluxe in general. For Studio Series, that is a poor showing. Gamer Edition has generally failed to really capture. There's not a toy I love. The closest thing I like is Barricade here. Starscream's not bad either, but it's just like, it is unfortunate what has happened to Studio Series, and I don't understand what the difference is. Has the budget on the toys shrank so much that they can't incorporate the clever engineering that is the hallmark of Studio Series? Has the design team that has been working on these changed and the newer, less experienced, maybe cheaper design team is failing to meet the previous standards set by the Studio Series design iterations. I am very curious to find out why. As is, this is not a recommendation. It was a lateral move. It's a mook. It's an army builder, but it's not a great army builder, and it's not a cheap army builder. If you want to pick up a bunch of Decepticon soldiers, you can probably get Transformers Generation Studio Series Gamer Edition 08 Decepticon Soldier, hopefully for like 10 or 15 bucks in, you know, a couple months at the end of the year kind of thing. That is my best recommendation for it. All right, I'm back from vacation. This video was originally going to be the 4-pack review, but I just didn't have enough time to film it this week because Nate's in town, and it's been so much fun to spend time with him. He's getting ready to get married. We're excited for him, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Bye!